Okay, let's get started. I'm gonna sit up here.
Okay. The Library Advisory Board meeting of Monday, January 13th, 2020 will now come to order. It's 5:30, and I will call the roll. Jason,
Here.
Donna,
Here.
Jennifer,
Here.
Susan,
Here.
I'm Cinda and I'm here, and Bill, our liaison.
Is here.
Excellent, all right. We will begin, and first is approval of minutes. Jason, you send out the minutes,
Yes.
and does anyone have any additions, corrections, or questions about the minutes? If not, we will call the minutes approved as mailed. Any correspondence or communications? Guess not. And we have no public here, so we will have no call to the public. Old business, we have none, and new business, Jason, you're gonna give us the state of the library.
I'm gonna give you the rundown, and we're gonna start with statistical reports.
And we just scroll up on our little screens?
Yeah, so scroll up,
Okay.
and thank you all for being here, by the way. Appreciate that. Yeah, so on your pad there, you'll see, since we didn't meet in October, I just compiled a list of statistics for July through December.
Mhm.
And they're stellar. We had a record-breaking December last month. Our old record was just over 6,000 checkouts, and I think we were about 6,300 checkouts. And it's across the board. Everything is continually up, including the San Jose Annex, which they had their first, not their first, but they've been consistently checking out more each month. And they were, for the half year, they were at 2,675. And I think last month they were about 600 checkouts. So that's amazing for a little tiny classroom that checks out 600 items in 1 month. I'm thrilled. I really, it's quite remarkable and exciting. Just a rundown, I put in a little, Amity from the Cochise County Library District sent me a little note saying that our digital circulation rose more than 49% in 2018 to 2019. And that's huge. So that's everyone reading ebooks and downloading e-audiobooks. So word is definitely getting out on that. And more people are using that. So that's exciting too. So if you add that in with our regular statistics, you know, back before ebooks, all those would have been regular book checkouts. So that's kind of interesting to think about. And that was, for the entire year, that was almost 4,000 e-checkouts. So super good. Visits are strong. December was hugely busy just in terms of the week between the holidays. Super busy with tourists coming in, huge families coming in and like making themselves at home right off the bat. Like, it's almost like they know, it's weird for someone who's never been there before to come in and just be like, yeah, this is my place. And they act that way and they use it. And I think that's really cool. A lot of kids, families with kids really enjoying the children's library. Programs, consistently doing good. Allison's got a bunch of stuff planned already for 2020, and we're working on some bigger projects which I'll go into under programming. Internet is still pretty busy, and the children's internet has been up. So we extended our little children's computer lab from 2 to 4 computers. And every day after school, they're booked. They're like, so that's really exciting. And over break, they were like, we're teaching them how to take turns and, you know, let everyone have a chance at it. So it's a good exercise in that too. We added almost 2,500 new items. Obviously, those are not all purchased. They were donations and acquisitions. And our total number of library items, in case anyone ever wants to guess how many items are in the library, it's 38,926. And of course that fluctuates with stuff we get and stuff that we remove from the collection. And this number just keeps growing and growing too. The items lent to other libraries within Cochise County for 6 months, 3,717 items went to other libraries in the county. Ever since the county went to one card, one county, it just seems now everyone just seems to have easier access to everything in the county. So that's all the other library patrons placing holds on our materials. So it's really exciting to see the list every morning. Jennifer pulls those items, and we're always astonished. Some days it's 5, 6, 7 pages long.
Yeah.
And, so that's really exciting, and that's increased across the board just about in every library. Everyone's ordering more and receiving more, which is great, and that's the whole idea of resource sharing. None of us have enough shelf room to house everything, so what we can't find in our library, people can easily find in a neighboring library. So that's super exciting. I always, this is my favorite time of the year or month, is compiling statistics from month to month and then watching them grow when we add them all together for the year. Anyone have any questions about that? Again, the graph I just compared to checkouts, the current year in red, and then back in 2015 in yellow. Obviously some things don't have any yellow because we didn't have the San Jose Annex back then, and our Library of Things we didn't have either. Our Library of Things are the hotspots, internet hotspots, which we now have about a waiting list of 60 people on those hotspots. We have 45 hotspots, and they are constantly cranked out. They are definitely used very well. We got a really nice holiday card from a patron who expressed their appreciation for that hotspot grant, because it helped them take care of some things in their life that they needed to. It was really like, it was the best testimonial, and we sent that on to the Arizona State Library where we got the grant. Because we couldn't have said it better ourselves. It was just like one of those commercials with, it was like, so that's really exciting, and people definitely appreciate it, and they're getting returned on time, and getting themselves back on the list. So it's just a rotating cycle of patrons.
And then you have the bocce ball.
Bocce ball checkouts isn't included in that, and pickleball. And they go out, not every day, but they do go out. I think it's a really cool thing to offer. And yeah, we'll see how that grows. I think that's Library of Things is one of my favorite new categories, and just trying to think about what kind of things we can put in there that we do have the room to store. That's half the battle is storing it. So for the staffing report, so we have our 10-hour library, part-time library assistant. When Kathy left, Damaris moved into the, from 10 hours to 19 and a half hours a week. And that was really seamless. And
so Kathy's gone permanently?
She is gone. We have the position posted. I don't know if she will apply. But she is more than welcome to. She needed some time to take care of some things, so she is definitely welcome back. So we shall see. So that is posted currently, and it will be closing, I think, in about a week. And so we'll do interviews, and then we will get someone hired. and everything else is nice and stable the way we like it. As far as programming goes, so we have some things coming up. The library wants to take a really big part in the 2020 census. So we're working with City Hall and some people at the county. We're going to be meeting coming up. So Census Day is April 1st, and it's really important for everyone in Bisbee to be counted. I was actually just working on a promotional flyer just to get the word out there, but everyone who's counted gets allotted a certain amount of money from the federal government, and it's about $2,000 per person. So I mean, think about it, if 5 people don't get counted in the census, that's $10,000 that could be earmarked for certain programs. I know that programs are like housing and food assistance, there's highway maintenance, there's medical programs, all these really, really important functions that we need for our community. So what we're really just trying to get the word out on the importance of the census. So we're planning a census party, of course. That's going to be April 1st, and we're trying to get people to come out. And so we're trying to think about ideas of incentives on how to, just encourage people to take the census. First and foremost, it's safe, it's easy. A lot of it's going to be done online this year, so that's the problem of Bisbee, Old Bisbee, is getting them counted. They are still going to be sending out census workers, and they're going to try to find as many people as they can, but they're really encouraging people to fill the census out online. So we're going to create kiosks in the library where people can do that. We'll have tablets as well that people can just really easily fill out at the front desk. They can complete the census. We're also going to be, during our ice cream social, which is Friday, May 8th, it'll be our 2nd annual ice cream social at the San Jose Annex. We'll also have a census table there. So we're trying to get all those families with young children, anyone living in your household on April 1st should be counted. So that's pretty exciting. We're trying to make sure no one gets left behind, and again, that funding, which is really, really important. And I think that's really important just to convey that, it's not just figuring out how many people live here, but how money should be divided up. So help spread the word on that. Other programming, Allison and Samantha. Samantha is our early literacy coordinator who works over at the Annex. They were both at the Arizona Early Literacy Summit in Chandler last week. So we're going to be meeting up, and they came back with a lot of information, but try to implement a lot of the stuff that they learned in our preschool literacy programs. So that's really exciting, and this is these are conferences that are sponsored by the Arizona State Library, and there's opportunities for us to get scholarships, so it actually didn't cost us anything to send both of those, which is really exciting. I mean, that's one of the hardest things. They have all these opportunities, and a lot of them do take place up in Tucson and Phoenix, and just the ability to have something paid for like that makes it a no-brainer, really, to participate. And luckily, we have a staff that's really engaged and wants to participate and wants to go to these things and wants to learn new things. So that is very exciting. And Allison learned of a couple opportunities to get more scholarships like that through other organizations. So we're going to be looking into that. Like I went to the American Library Association Conference and the Rural and Small Librarians Conference last year, but that was all paid for through the awards that we received. So this year we're going to be looking at different avenues to get some of our people there. So that's exciting. Another really cool programming thing that came up was the American Library Association reached out to us to see if we wanted to be involved in Oprah Winfrey's her book club.
Really?
Yeah, and so Oprah picks up these books, and this gives us an opportunity to offer a book club a brand new release. So they send up to 15 copies of a brand new book that Oprah endorses in her book club, and so we're just super excited because a lot of our book discussion kits are older books. A lot of busy people have already gone through all those, and one of the hardest things about getting a new release book for a book club is that they're constantly checked out because everyone across the county is reading them. So this is kind of exclusive, and it's just kind of exciting that they picked us, and I'm sure it was because we were on the radar with our award last year. But we are receiving our first set this week. And we have to keep it secret. This is like...
Do I need to turn off my mic?
Well, no, I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it's funny. It's a big deal. So we will abide by all the rules. And what's really exciting is Allison reached out to the National Honor Society High School Book Club, and they're going to be a part of it. So what we're trying to do is kind of connect our own patronage with this high school book club. So it should be interesting interplay. We'll stay tuned, because as soon as we do get the title in, we are allowed to release it, and we'll announce it. And but I think that's really cool, and I'm super excited. We want to work with the schools any which way we can, and this is just another avenue to connect in, so stay tuned with that. Other programs, just to recap on, we had two really good December programs, our Secret Santa and our Food for Fines, and both of them went extraordinarily well. Secret Santa, we actually raised enough money to buy everything on the list. And that list was, if you guys have seen it, it was like 5 pages. And so we received over $2,000 in donations. So again, those were all materials that, they were children's materials that were somehow lost, misplaced, and ended up being a red mark on children's library cards. So the initiative was for patrons to sponsor one of the missing items, and that we would buy and replace and then remove it from their account, thus opening their account back up to check out. And we've already had some very happy patrons notified, and it's a weight off everyone's shoulder. The parents who may not be able to afford it, and the child who may be too embarrassed to admit that they lost it, whatever the reason, and it doesn't matter what the reason is, it's, things happen, and this just allows us to help them out a bit.
So moving forward, since the children's fine issue has been removed, then the only mitigating circumstance would be if an item was lost.
Yes.
So that Secret Santa list should
Yes.
narrow. In theory, right?
In theory, it may. We'll see.
Right. You never know for the ones. Okay.
But
oh, I'm okay.
take a seat. Yeah, and we were really excited for the food drive, because last year we started the book drive where we wrapped new books and gave them to the fire department to use in their family boxes. And we did that again this year, and we enlisted the help of the National Honor Society, who did their own book drive, and they collected a bunch of beautiful books that they themselves came to the annex and wrapped. We had our wrap party, and super successful. We actually had so many books that each child on that list got multiple books, so, and wrapped individually, and we got a picture in the paper for that one. So other updates on programming, we're going to be starting to plan summer reading already. It's only January, but summer reading starts in June, and this year's theme is loosely based on fairy tales, so we can work with that any way we want. But we are going to be starting to plan that out and see what kind of partners we can come up with. I know the Bisbee Science Lab wants to work with us again over the summer, so that's really good. And we'll see what else we can come up with. Other programs, the chocolate tasting is coming up February 8th, which is less than a month away. So that's Saturday, February 8th. It's at the Central School from 6 to 9. We are selling tickets at the library. They're $15 a piece, and you can also buy them at eventbrite.com, or you can just buy them at the door the night of the event. And that's the 29th annual one. Next year's the big 3-0. Any questions on programs? We have a lot. Oh, actually, there's another something I wanted to bring up. The Drag Queen Story Hour Arizona chapter reached out to us, and they want to perform a Drag Queen Story Hour in February. And this is exactly what it sounds like. It's drag queens reading stories to kids. And so what we're going to do is we're going to have a special event. I know there's some people may not be keen on that, and so we're not going to do it during our regular story hour. We're going to do a separate. It's going to be on a Saturday, and I would hope that if any of you are interested to come out and support us. It's the date.
What kind of support were you seeking from us?
Just to come and be there, and you guys can watch. This is it's a Arizona nonprofit organization that does this, and it's to just bring awareness and attention to some diverse populations, and they do a lot in Tucson. However, they do them in different community places, and Bisbee will be the first public library in Arizona to host one. And it will be on February 22nd, I do believe. We met with them. A woman came down and talked to Allison and myself, and is really excited to have this in a library, and we're excited to host them and give it a try. When I was in, I was at the American Library Association. This is a really big push in public libraries, and there was a presentation on this in a room that probably had 200 people in attendance too. And it was an informational, and it was also, there was a drag queen there who did story hour with us. And it was just, it was very engaging, and it's I think it's a new chapter for us to become involved with. So I did want to get any kind of feedback on that if any of you have any feedback.
You said it's the Arizona chapter, so they're nationwide?
Yes, yeah, it's a nationwide effort, and all the presenters are, you know, there's background checks performed. All these people, one of the first questions is like, well, who are these people? And like, you know, they're working with children, and all that has been taken care of because this is going through an organization who has all those, they look through all that stuff, so. Any comments?
Will you know in advance what they'll be reading to the children?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah.
Do they choose or do we choose?
They choose, obviously we would, you know, we would have some say in it, but they typically choose their own stories. It usually has something to do with, you know, maybe not drag queens in particular, but when, in the American Library Association, it was a story on how the pride flag was created, and Harvey Milk, and so I think it's cool. I know there was, everyone that we've kind of put feelers out towards was really excited about it, and that's why I think we would have adults there as well, just to kind of, just to see it, since it's kind of the first one, to see what it's all about, and that's welcome too. Yeah.
And did you mention that Bisbee is the first library to have this?
Public Library in Arizona,
Very cool.
yeah. Yeah,
Very inclusive.
very, very great program. I think that's it for programs. There's just, it seems like there's always something going on, always someone approaching us about doing something, or which is great. I mean, we just had a cave-in club reach out to us and wanted to start meeting at the library. We have someone new who wants to start a chess club, and we have kids who, we've been keeping that chess set downstairs by the kids' computers, and these kids want a chess tournament. I mean, so
Great idea.
so that's like, all these things are, you know, it makes us look like we're coming up with all these ideas, but my point is that people are bringing their ideas to us, and they're great ideas, so we're kind of rolling with it. So yeah, if you hear of anything, please let us know.
I have a question, Jason. What's the update on the Royale in terms of the library being able to use it?
So, right, so the Royale is having roof issues, just about it, like every other place in Bisbee. And actually the Friends are meeting tonight, and they're going to decide on how they want to proceed with that film series. We had already paid for the last movie that we were advertising, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and we're showing that up at Central School on Wednesday, and we're going to see how that goes. But as far as that series at the Royale, we'll have to see when they open again and what the Friends want to do. But the other thing about those movies, and that actually made me realize that we're going to be doing a couple of different things in the summer or early summer before the rains come. But we want to show a movie maybe at City Park, and have a movie night, and have families bring blankets, chairs, you know, hang out, and the city has an inflatable screen, and we can put that up at the stage, and we can watch a movie there. We definitely want to, I've been wanting to do this forever, but we want to show a movie up at the pool, have a special night. We can open the pool at night, and there's places that show movies like Jaws and stuff like that, where people sit in the pool.
Diamond movie.
Yes.
Diamond movie.
So I know we're going to try those two things and see how it goes. But this movie license that we have through our licensing company, we can show them anywhere off premises. So we could, you know, and with that inflatable screen, we can pretty much take that anywhere. Now the city does show movies in Vista Park at times, so we don't want to interfere with that, but we thought we could take some locations that haven't been done before, and I think think the pool thing is really cool.
Are you really gonna show Jaws?
I want to, I don't know. Whatever the movie is, it will probably be water themed. It doesn't have to be scary, but I think that's just a cool thing to like hang out at the pool and you know, have snacks to sell and you know, something for families. I don't think kids would like Jaws, but budget update. So not much to report, but we're going to be starting the new budget coming up in February. We're going to be meeting with the finance director and city manager and going to put together a budget. I haven't heard anything like we have to cut or anything like that, knock on wood. So I'll have more information when I meet them, but you know, for the last few years it's just been trying to stay the same. We have had increases with staff. The council has been really super supportive to the library, and we're really thankful for that. So I think we're just gonna ask what we want, you know, for what we want, and see what happens.
Well, you're in good shape with all the awards.
That's right.
God, yeah.
Exciting news on the annex. We are going to be expanding the annex into the back room across the hall, which is now housed by the science lab. They're going to be moving to a front room, so they have a front entrance, so people can easily find them. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be moving the adult collection out of the main room and putting it into the back room. From what we've learned in our first year of being opened, is that room gets pretty noisy with kids. And that was the whole initial idea and push. And it turned out that adults want a space too there, which is really quite organic, the way that it all kind of unfolded. It's kind of, you know, we're responding to people's interests, and we'll act on that. So basically it'll just be like the main library where we have a second and third floor. This one will just be one room and two rooms. So it's almost like going upstairs on the third floor grabbing a book, but you're going across the hall and coming back and checking it out. So that's going to take some logistics and some planning, but I've already talked to Amity Ricketts at the Cochise County Library, and they've got their metal adjustable shelving. They've got a bunch of that they're willing to give up. And basically that's one of the biggest pieces, is to have shelving to put the books on. But the exciting thing is that there is such an interest with adults that we can have a much bigger collection of books. We can curate a new book collection for them. We can expand the collections that we already have. It's like we moved into that space and we were immediately out of room. You know, there was every little part of the library was represented, but a lot of the sections were just really small because that's all the room. So this is really super exciting. We can expand on everything there. And then what will happen is that the little adult section that we do have in that main room will become a teen center, where we can have a teen table for homework, games, a little teen lounge for just reading. Computers will be specifically for the kids, and we'll have another set for the back room. And yeah, we'll kind of play it out in that sense of just creating spaces, and that way the back room can also be used for other meetings. We've had people interested in having meetings there, and it is such a small space, and kids are very comfortable there, which means that they will run around and claim it as their own, and you know. So I think it's going to be a good thing, and the school district has been very supportive of us there, and they're really excited to give us that space. And again, that's a free space with free internet and heating and cooling that works way better than the main library. I mean, it is nice. And having the science lab as a partner there is really works for both of us. And the fact that they will have a front classroom right next to ours, and they can have a sign outside, it's just going to make that sense of space that much more defined. I think the science lab is really hidden the way it is now, that you have to come into the building and go down the hall to get to it. And this one, they actually have a storefront, so to say. So yeah, so we will be working on that in the next coming months. Hopefully, I think this can be done. I think, so by our ice cream social in May, hopefully we will have some sort of presence in that other room. We'll see, but I think it should be possible. Facilities update. So there's a few things going on at the main library. First, and I forgot the picture, but I can email you all. We were approved by Designer Review Board to, Ben Dale is going to be creating a sign for us. He did the Bisbee Mining and Historical Museum arched sign that the museum has, and he's doing something in a very, very similar fashion that says the Copper Queen Library and then 1882 up here. And it's going to cover our entire front staircase on Main Street going up. So we're talking like, this thing is 14 feet long and however many feet high, that it will fit in the span of the two pillars above that the staircase is between.
It will be out, sit out at all on the sidewalk,
It'll be, that's a good question, it'll be back a little bit. But then we can look at lighting to light it up at night. And he is super excited to do this. When we met with him, he says he's been wanting to make a sign for the library for the past however long he's been in Bisbee. And we're finally going to make it happen. So our building will be signed. And still to this day, there are people that come into the library and said, I've lived in Bisbee for I don't know how many years and I never knew there was a library.
It is kind of anonymous.
Yes, it really is. And everyone assumes that that whole building is the post office. It's like,
Is that coming out of your regular budget?
oh, no, that's a good question, Bill. So that is what we decided to do with our prize money from Besmo Library, is to put it towards a sign. We wanted to look for something that was a lasting testament to the building, something that you know could be enjoyed for years to come. And we had already talked about doing a sign.
It's like, this is better than a testimonial dinner?
Yeah, I mean, so like it's lasting. You know? It's like instead of spending it on something that is, you know.
Oh, I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I love that arch thing.
Yeah.
It looks like it's been there, like it's been.
Exactly, and then that's the other thing we wanted, is we wanted something that kind of, that fit into the building and
Yeah,
into the
it's-
town, and like I said, we presented it at the Design Review Board last week, and they were really excited about it, so.
Oh, do send the picture.
I will, and I apologize, I didn't have that. with
How
me.
soon is that gonna get going?
Well, when we let Ben know, he says it's probably gonna be about 6 months to fabricate it, so,
But later this year?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
jeez.
He's done some other things around town. I mean, he's a great artist, and you know, I trust him, and he, you know, it's gonna look beautiful. So, we have that, and then our roof. Public Works is going to be resealing our roof. This is really important because we've got holes all over the ceiling of the 3rd floor. And, you know, like, we had such a rainy season, you know, and it seemed like everyone who didn't have leaks before had them after the last couple rounds of rain, and ours is just getting worse and worse. So the city is going to fix that for us, and then once that is fixed, we're going to get our ceilings fixed. A local contractor will be working on our ceilings that all have damage on the 3rd floor. So we're looking at if everything's kind of paneled by moldings and beams, but everything that's above the staircase and back into that room that's at the top of the stairs, is all those ceilings are going to be fixed. So that will be. It's like I'm so used to getting the buckets out every rainstorm, and it's just sad. It's like, come on. So that is.
Go ahead.
Well, it's going to be done. I'm putting it on the record. So.
Has anyone been in the attic recently to check the status of any bats?
You know, there are still bats up there because every once in a while one comes down and, you know, gets kind of locked out, and no, but I think that's pretty, not like whatever that was where they harvested all that bat guano. I don't think there's anything like that anymore up there.
I saw some a few months ago at evening. It
Oh, really?
seemed to be coming from
They came out of the
that
library?
area. Yeah, yeah. And so I just wondered if anybody.
Yeah, well, when
checked on
they're,
it.
yeah. I wonder how they're getting in. Well, when they do the roof, they're gonna.
Right,
they're gonna
yeah.
have to look
They'll
around.
find whatever's
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
My screen's gone blank and I don't know how
Oh.
to get it back.
There should be a button on the side,
Button on the side, right there. Oh, well.
and then go up on your.
There you go, then swipe up, yeah.
Okay.
And then some other exciting news is we're working with Danielle Bouchevet.
Uh-huh.
She's going to be helping us write a grant for the library building itself. So there's like 2 parts to this, and we're going to be working with the State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO, who are finally getting funding again to do this kind of work. So they've been without funding for the past 10 years, ever since the economy took a turn for the worse, and they're expecting their coffers to be filled. So the first step is for us to write an assessment grant, and that's for to see what all needs to be done to the building. So we're talking about any cracks on the exterior, any repointing of the blocks in the back, all those kind of things, kind of structural things that that are wrong with the building. And once that is, and we can apply for that grant through SHPO, and they will fund that, so then we can figure out exactly what we need to get done and how much it's going to cost, and then we can apply back to SHPO again for money to actually perform all the work. So it's going to be a process, but at least I'm so excited that the office has money again. And they were down, I want to say, maybe 6 months ago, doing something else in town, and the city manager invited them to the library, and they are so, they think Bisbee is their poster child for all kinds of preservation work, and they were super excited that we would be applying on behalf of the library. So again, that's, and Danielle has just been a volunteer grant writer for the city, and she's been helping departments out. I mean, she is good, so I feel we're in good hands with her.
Didn't they do at least a partial assessment some years back, maybe 5
You
or
know,
6
they
years?
did, and because I mentioned that to the group of people that were down, and they didn't have anything, but I remember that. But either, and it would have to probably be redone again because of just the time, and our building probably needs more work now than it did
Yeah.
back then,
And the dollars will certainly be different.
and the dollars would be different. So that's really good, just, you know, we look at this beautiful old building and, you know, we have to take care of it, and we want it to be around for, you know, another 137 years, and they all thought that the building was very structurally sound, but it's just, there's attention that needs to be given to it, and understandably, I mean, that is an old building, and we want to keep it, so we will work as hard as we can to do that. Oh, and then another exciting things, let's see. The Friends are going to be purchasing. Yes. I found these hanging copper lamps up in Tucson, and I presented them to both the city and the Friends, and there's 9 of them, and the Friends want to purchase them for our reading room on the main level of the library. So what we would do is we would replace the fluorescent lights that are just above the reading table in the reading room, you know, reading area, and then above the front desk. So
No fluorescence.
Yeah.
so I
How did you come across that?
you know, I was up in Tucson, and I was going through antique stores and just shopping for myself, and I happened upon these, and I asked the guy, I'm like, what are these? And you know, he said he's had them for, I forget how long, but I said, like, you know, where I was from and where I worked, and he was, you know, and he could be a good salesman too, but he said, oh, I always pictured if these didn't go, I don't know, he might have mentioned church, but then it should go into like a library or something like that. So I've been working between him and the Friends, and the Friends voted to buy them, and now the trick is going to be to get them back to Bisbee. But I think that's also a very, you know, there's
Beautiful.
kind of with the sign, like we want to do things and to make it look like they've kind of been there forever. And obviously those fluorescent lights haven't been there since the library opened. It served a need. And I think this will just make that space that much more special. So it's kind of a little side project. And then facility-wise, so the Friends also bought, the Friends have been busy helping us, and they purchased 12 new computers for our computer lab, which is desperately needed. I want to say like half those computers are 6 years old, and the other half are like 12 years old. Is that possible that they would still work? So I'm working with our IT, and they're doing setting up the computers. Obviously they have to have their software, so no one can make any changes to the computers, any to the configurations and stuff like that. So they have to be locked down, and we're just trying to get them set up to the point where they can be locked down. If we do have to make changes, we can, but it gets really complicated. So we're trying to set everything up right the first time, and which is really cool because we can tailor, you know, when the kids. So what it's called Smart Shield, and that's what makes the computers safe from any changes. But that also means that you can't make any downloads onto the computers in terms of software. You can download a document from your email, but you can't download software onto the computers. Because who knows if that software is safe, and but then there's things like these kids want to play these certain games and they can't download it because it's been blocked. So we can go in and find out, you know, what they're playing, what the software is, and we can safely download it onto them so that all the kids' computers have that on there. So different things like that, we can look at specifically what should go on each computer. And we want to make sure that we have all the configurations for printing, to make it really streamlined and easy, and different just desktop links that, you know, we feel are important. Like there'll be a link on each computer to the 2020 census. There'll be a link on Arizona at Work for people, you know, needing job assistance. Just things like that. So we're kind of rethinking the way our computers are set up. So, and it makes me glad I'm not in the IT business because it's hard. And I think that's it. I do have a newsletter for each of you. I just want to mention a few things. Are any of you ebook readers? Ebooks? So you may have this in Phoenix, but they're called Lucky Day titles. So what the county found is that really popular ebooks, say like a J.A. Jance mystery, there'll be like a hold of, you know, like 100 people in line, and like you're slated to read it in 2021, you know. So a Lucky Day title is just that. Like you'll go on to the ebook page, Overdrive, and those books, one copy will be like you can still place a hold on it, but these Lucky Day ones, you can look at it all day and watch it change and see if your book comes up, and you can grab it because it's your lucky day and it's available. So that's actually, people are actually really excited about that for that reason, because a lot of these books you won't necessarily see, but this is a rotating collection of titles, and you can see, you know, if it's your day and you have time to read it, you can quick grab it and you can read it before anyone else gets it. So that's new with the county. We have our automatic renewals, which are causing everyone confusion, because now everything you have out gets automatically renewed, but then you get a new due date in your email that people really aren't looking at. So it's a learning curve in terms of, you know, I thought my book was due here, and then it got automatically renewed, but then I forgot about it, and then, because people have their own systems and they know exactly when their book is due and they don't want that to change. And I just say, like, it can get automatically renewed, but if you stick with, you want to bring that book back because this paper says so, then you just do that. So that's just, it's something new, but it is a good thing in terms of, you know, if you're traveling or if you're just spacey, you do get an email notification saying that an item has been automatically renewed, and the only reason it wouldn't be automatically renewed is if someone else had a hold on it, and your email would tell you that as well, saying that this book couldn't be renewed and must be returned to the library. So again, I can't say enough great things about Amity Ricketts, our Cochise County librarian. She's really brought our library system, county system, into the 21st century. I mean, it's into the 2020s. Just you know, the one card, one county, and a lot of those things are just really exciting for us. Does anyone have anything? I feel
When's
like I
our
just-
next meeting date?
You think I would come prepared for that?
Meanwhile, I apologize, I have no excuse. Lots of justification, but no excuse.
You thought it was 6, right?
I still got no excuse. But yeah, I did.
So our next meeting will be in April, I'm going to say
I saw that today.
April 20th, so did I.
I did.
Don't absolutely need to know right now. You can send that when you send
Yeah.
a picture of Ben Dale's project.
Let me write that down. Under other, if if it's meant to say other, not update. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns?
Sounds like wonderful progress, even still.
Guys, you know, when you first said, oh yeah, we're gonna be able to load games on for these kids, the ones we don't think, oh, come on. And I thought, well, anything that gets these kids into the library,
Yeah.
that's what you want. So,
Mhm.
You know,
should be able
it's,
to-
that's an, yeah, it's, we kind of forget about leisure time. That's exactly what, you know, sometimes kids' leisure time is kind of, you know, outplays a lot of their other time, but it's a safe place for them to come, and we're working with them because they get very excited over their games, and, you know, sometimes they're sitting right next to each other, but they talk very loudly. And it's,
Mhm.
but it's been great for all of us, and, you know, we are excited, and like I said, they were sitting there playing games and they saw the chessboard, and these kids know how to play chess, and they want a tournament, and it's like, again, it's like we're not telling them what to do, they're telling us what they want to do, which works so much better if you've ever tried that. And that's really, that's exciting, and you know, I do want to put it out there. It's like, whatever you guys want, like, let us know. You know, do you want a new board game? Do you want, you know, instead of us trying to figure out what they like to do, like, let us know. And that's the same with adults too. You know, it's I think it goes with our book collections and our programs. You know, obviously, if Bisbee has an interest in something, it's going to do well.
How's the seed library gonna go without Kathy?
The seed library is, it's a good question. So yeah, we're looking at different, I think the hardest thing is just, we can get seed grants and stuff like that, but then it's organizing the work to process them and get them into the seed library, and so we'll be working on that. And Kathy has expressed interest in volunteering and helping anyway. So we'll make sure that it keeps going. That little seed library, I tell you, that's, you know, I just had some people in today getting seeds, and yeah, we're getting to that point in the season where it's time to plant seeds, and I think that's such a cool thing, is to offer that. And we've had such great success with it. And just in terms of people donating seeds that from their yard, you know, and that's the best kind of seed something that is established and does well here. That's what we want. And that was the whole kind of idea towards the seed library, is getting these seeds acclimated to our growing conditions. So, are you volunteering?
But I have a friend who is newly moved here full-time and might be interested.
Yeah.
So if you have a need, I will bring
Yeah.
it up to her.
Yeah, we'll definitely, we're gonna have to take a look at that. Yeah, I mean, the hardest thing is not the hardest thing, but that they do get depleted, and we do have to look at what we need, and a lot of the really easy to grow garden vegetables go like that. So we'll make sure it keeps going.
Okay, well, for the good of the order, we will meet again in April, right? And if there's no other comments, I move that we adjourn.
All in favor?
Right?
Aye.
Aye.